Instead of developers accessing your backend services directly, they can be exposed through API proxies on Apigee, which are HTTP endpoints. The proxy manages any code changes on the backend and avoids disruptions for developers until a new version of the API is warranted. An API proxy enables you to apply security features, enforce access limits and quotas, provide caching, create transformations, and handle errors. It also lets you perform monitoring and create analytic reports. You usually group multiple API proxies into an API product and offer that as a service plan. For example, you may want to provide an API product for free up to a certain request limit per day for developers to try out your API. But we'll cover that in another episode. You will have some flexibility when creating your API proxy, and so to get started, in this episode I will walk you through how to build your first API proxy. Before getting started, you will need to have configured access to your API proxy either externally or internally. I have linked instructions in this video called Accessing API Proxies. Next, visit the Apigee console at apigee.google.com. Then develop API proxies. Then select Create New. This will prompt the proxy wizard, and you will choose Reverse Proxy. Next, enter the following values for the proxy name, proxy base path, description, and the target existing API. Then click Next, and Apigee will create your proxy. Next, choose to visit the API proxy list so that we can deploy our proxy by returning to Develop API Proxies again. Next, ensure you are on your eval environment by looking at the top, otherwise use the drop-down to change environments. Click on My Proxy. Then notice that under Deployments, the revision column shows Not Deployed. Next, from the revision drop-down, choose 1, as this is the first version, and then click Deploy. After a few seconds pass, you can see from the status bar when your proxy is fully deployed. Now you can test the API proxy by using the command line terminal. As a friendly reminder, if you haven't configured access to your proxies either internally or externally, I have linked instructions on how to do that. Note that in my case, the external IP provided by an external load balancer is registered with a DNS registered hostname. Next, if the call succeeds, you will see the hello guest as the output. Now let's try changing the target endpoint to output XML. So let's return to Develop API Proxies again. Select your desired proxy. Then on the top far right, click Develop, which will take you to the API Proxy Editor, which lets you see the structure of your API proxy and configure its flow. In the Navigator pane, select Target Endpoints Preflow. On the Code pane, you can spot your target URL endpoint. Next, append /XML to the existing URL so that it looks like this. Next, click Save. You'll be asked to save it as a new revision since you already deployed revision 1, and that can't be changed. Then deploy to the new revision by selecting the button Deploy to Eval and choose Deploy to. Test your changes by sending a request to your proxy via command line, just like we did earlier, like this. And this should return XML. Now let's add a policy to convert that XML into JSON. We will use an XML to JSON policy in the proxy response flow. This policy converts the payload of an XML message to JSON. It also changes the response's content type header. To add the XML to JSON policy to your proxy, let's return to API Proxies Develop. Select your desired proxy, then on the top far right, click Develop. This time, click Proxy, Endpoints, Default Preflow. To add a policy to your proxy, click the plus step button in the Response Preflow, the bottom half of the flow editor. Apigee displays a categorized list of policies in the Add dialog box that you can add to your flow. Scroll down and select the XML to JSON policy. Leave the default names and click Add. Apigee attaches the new policy to the preflow of the response, which does 3 things. 1, it adds the new policy under Policies in the Navigator pane. 2, it adds the XML to JSON policy in the Flow pane. And 3, it displays the policy's configuration XML in the Code pane. We'll just use the default configuration that's suggested, but this can be customized. Next, click Save and test it out with the following curl command. Congrats! You've successfully added the XML to JSON policy to your new proxy. As a next step, I have linked in this video's description more information on how to add additional functionality to your API proxies if you're interested. In the next episode, I will walk you through how to apply Apigee security policies to your proxy, so stay tuned. And friends, if you found this episode helpful, you can click like or subscribe to the channel. Cheers!